The Rusty Tractor might be one of the most difficult vehicles to obtain via hard work. But aside from being a statement to your dedication in the Arena War game modes, this vehicle really isn't anything special, which is why I believe it's the worst Pegasus vehicle in the entire game. However, that got me thinking, which Pegasus vehicle is the best in the game, and where would the other 85 Pegasus vehicles rank? Well, lucky for you, I decided to put the time in and rank all of these vehicles on their price, their speed, and numerous other factors. Now, the Dozer might be quite unique, having the movable bucket. However, it also has the lowest top speed of any land vehicle in the entire game, even being slower than walking at only 11 miles an hour. And let's be honest, we all know this one spawns on the map already, so why put in the hours upon hours of work at the arena? The Mixer also struggled for similar reasons despite having a much better top speed. The main problem here is that it's again very tedious to obtain, requiring you to reach a level 300 in the arena. One of the newest Pegasus vehicles is the Police Predator boat, which costs a whopping $3.8 million, and despite having a trade price, is deemed one of the biggest wastes of money in this entire lineup. The Heist dinghy is much more popular, however it leaves you a lot more vulnerable to gunfire, and it can also be found in numerous places around the map, as well as via numerous interaction menu options, making it something you can probably pass up on buying. The Sea Shark might be a more common aquatic vehicle for you to use. However, with its limited seating and general usability, it fell victim to the same fates that most boats did. The Tropic, however, fell victim to the same fate, and despite only costing $22,000, it's at least faster than the Police Predator. The Barracks Assembly is definitely a vehicle that I would have purchased by now if it weren't an Arena War unlock. Being one of the only vehicles on this list that can tow trailers, it's also quite quick, being the fastest base game military vehicle. The Space Docker is much more sought after and has been bumped up a few spots due to its unique horn and sound effects. That being said, nothing from the Arena War list really scored that well. In 76th place is the Taxi, which is at least usable for taxi missions within the game. However, it's the exact same as any other taxi you might find on the street, and you'd probably be better off using any of the personal vehicles that can also be used for taxi dispatch work, such as the Eudora or Broadway. The Kraken is the main submarine on this list, and it isn't the slowest of its kind. Regardless, 20.75 miles an hour isn't anything too impressive. The Civilian Mule is the first of two mules that we'll see on this list. Costing only $27,000 and topping out at 71 miles an hour, the biggest downside of this vehicle is that you can find it on basically any street in the industrial area. The post-op Boxville isn't horrible as a vehicle by itself, but is vastly hated on in the online community due to that one particular mission that I'd rather not speak of. The Tug may also be fairly disliked in the community, but it's also fairly unique. That being said, you can't score very high when you cost over $1 million and can't even reach 20 miles an hour, even with its very unique horn. The Squallow is another bog standard boat, costing roughly $200,000, and unlike the Tropic, can be used in boat races, which gave it a slight edge, bumping it up a few spots. The Toro might be one of the better looking boats in my opinion, but with a price tag of $1.7 million, it was kind of deserving of 70th place. The Barracks costs nearly $500,000, and despite holding a plethora of players, it's also available by just calling Leicester or finding one near the military base, which kind of makes it pointless to own. Speaking of being pointless, the Luxor Deluxe is the most expensive vehicle in online for base price, and with that $10 million price tag, you get the ability to drink champagne and surf the internet without using your phone. Doesn't that just sound dandy? What a waste of money. The Speeder is once again very similar to the Squallow, but has a better top speed and a similar price tag. Heading back to the arena unlocks is the Heist Trashmaster, which has a top speed of 84 miles an hour, which is okay for a load of garbage. The Marquis is one of the most unique boats on this list, and isn't normally seen very often. I mean, let's be honest, when's the last time you've seen the sailboat cruising around the map at 26 miles an hour? The Stockade may look armored, but it isn't. And with a price tag of $2.2 million, you're probably better off to wait for the random event in which one of these spawns near the casino, and then stealing it and driving it for yourself until you get bored of it 5 minutes later. The regular city bus can hold a whopping 16 people, and whilst only costing $500,000, can also be found scattered around the map for completely free. So, the decision's up to you. The prison bus, however, is a bit more unique, but it holds fewer people, and costs $231,000 more than the city bus. but you can't find it around the map. Now I know you're thinking, and no, you're not experiencing deja vu. The Taxi Custom is another Arena War unlock. It's basically just the regular Taxi painted black and red with max engine, transmission, brake upgrading, and more. The Suntrap is the closest thing to the boat that I rode as a teenager, and at only $25,000 is fairly reasonable for someone wanting a standard boat that they won't ever use again, like myself. The Dashhound is a much more stylish bus, but it only seats 10 or 11 players, which is noticeably less than the regular city bus. The Dump has always been a very unique vehicle to own, and it does boast suicide doors. And it's the only ownable vehicle to have them. That being said, it takes a while to bring it anywhere, and it can just be found at the quarry if you really want one for free. The Jetmax is often confused with the Speeder, costing a similar amount, but going quite a bit faster on the speed spectrum. The Taco Van is the most unique version of the Boxville that you can own, and it also has the benefit of having a trade price, making it fairly cheap in the grand scheme of things. The airport bus may cost $50,000 more than the city bus, but it doesn't spawn as often and comes in more vibrant colors, typically being referred to as the Banana Bus. The newer Cluck & Bell Benson costs a whopping $685,000, and despite being one of the fastest vehicles thus far, is fairly overpriced for what you get. The Heist Mule is definitely better than the civilian version, as it has some extra seating and a slightly better top speed, though you're still just buying a box truck. Now, many people will say that the Liberator is free, but it actually costs $742,000 for most people. This is the original monster truck in the game, and it has a bit of a collector's fee, as it's only available during the week of Independence Day in the States. The Titan has always been a staple for big planes in GTA Online, but with the new Titan 250D coming out soon, it was hard to score this much higher than a 52nd, since it's just going to get outshadowed. Moving into 51st, we actually have the best non-weaponized boat. Looking past its horrible turning radius, the long fin might cost over $2 million, but is the fastest boat in the game. However, it's probably not worth buying, as you can just use the stock one in races and it's still the fastest. The rental shuttle bus is a lot faster than the previously mentioned buses, and only costing $30,000 makes it fairly desirable for small groups of friends. Similar to the Titan, the Duster will be overshadowed by the new Duster 300H. However, it'll always hold a special place in my heart, topping out at 144 miles an hour, making it slightly faster than the average airplane on this list. The Clown Van is definitely one of the best Arena War unlocks you can get, only requiring you to reach level 75. It comes with a unique horn and sound effects similar to the Space Stalker, making it a heavily desirable vehicle from that list. The Journey might only cost you $15,000, but you'd be better off just buying the Journey 2 as a personal vehicle and being able to customize it. The Rhino tank falls short in a few places, mostly regarding the fact that it can spawn in the military base and can be stolen. The weaponized dinghy is one of only 2 weaponized boats, and despite costing $1.8 million, is an okay option, as it's also got a unique radar icon. The LSDS Boxville costs $745,000 and tops out at 71.5 miles an hour. And although it might be better than the post-op Boxville, as it has flashing lights on top, it just can't compete with the LSDWP Boxville, which is ideally the exact same vehicle for roughly $90,000 less. The Swift Deluxe is very similar to the Luxor Deluxe, costing over $5 million for a helicopter that doesn't do anything too spectacular. The Fire Truck, however, is definitely a unique vehicle, which allows people to hang off the side and boasts lights and sirens. However, rather than spending over $3 million to obtain it, perhaps just call emergency services and wait for them to arrive. The Nightclub Blimp is also very unique for this list. Many players believe the Blimp to be significantly slower than other flying vehicles, but at 106 miles an hour, it's definitely comparable to some others in the sky. The Marshall is a better monster truck option for the majority of players. Having the same stats as the Liberator, it also comes with more color options as well as a custom flag, which you can get to match your country. The Crusader is a pretty standard vehicle costing $225,000, and it also gives you body armor upon entering it, which is a good little bonus. The Mallard is another fairly forgotten plane, but like the rest of the planes, can also be turned into a personal vehicle within the hangar, which helped its case. The Vatir is a more stylish version of the Barracks, but with style comes a much higher price tag at nearly $1.6 million, and it has a lower top speed to boot. The Kurtz 31 patrol boat will set you back nearly $3 million, and really only scored this high because of the fact it's weaponized, it gives you something upon entering, such as armor, and has a unique radar icon. But let's be honest, this boat sucks ass. The Vellum 5-seater, which came with the Heist DLC, is one of 2 Vellums we'll see on this list, and for reasons we'll go over later, it could only be scored in 33rd. The Mammotus is another bog standard plane, but is slightly slower than some others to come. This luxurious vehicle can unfortunately be found up and down Vinewood Boulevard, making it a bit pointless to purchase. But it does only cost $30,000 if you did want your own to keep. The Luxor is much more reasonably priced compared to its deluxe version, but it's still not the greatest private jet you could own, and can be found at LSIA any time of day. The Dune is one of my favorite Pegasus vehicles, being large and bulky with some weird handling mechanics. That being said, it does cost $1.4 million, which for some people just isn't worth it. Man, there's a lot more buses in the Pegasus lineup than I remember. And the Festival bus comes in with a unique radar icon, and it's marked to have lights of some sort, even though I can't really identify what they are. The Cuban 800 is a simple plane, but a very common plane, which also means it spawns fairly frequently at different runways around the map. The Maverick is basically the exact same on the helicopter spectrum, spawning at numerous helipads around the map. And again, the Laser spawns at a dozen locations at Fort Zancudo, and given the fact it's always been a fun vehicle to fly around, it had to score fairly high. But as a Pegasus vehicle, it's definitely not worth its $6.5 million price tag. The Velum is below average for top speed, but unlike the Velum 5-seater, it seats less players for a significantly lower price. The Vestra is a very unique looking jet, but costs nearly $1 million. The Besra is a very forgotten jet with a top speed of 189 miles an hour. The Police Riot is another severely overpriced vehicle that spawns in some pretty notable locations. The Cargo Bob has one of the most fun, unique features in the game, being able to pick up cars, which can only be seen on one other vehicle which hasn't even been released yet. Luckily, this Cargo Bob can be added as a personal vehicle. The Nimbus is a very stylish personal jet, but not many people own or fly it nowadays, and it also doesn't spawn on the map, so the only way to fly this plane is to cough up the $1.9 million needed. The Frogger is similar to the Maverick with similar spawn points and a slightly faster top speed, but it also gains some extra bounty points for being a CEO vehicle available from the office itself. The Shamal is, well, nothing too special. The Super Valido Carbon costs $3.3 million, but is one of few vehicles to have sliding doors on the list. The Annihilator is a different looking helicopter that occasionally spawns at the airport, but is fairly overlooked as it's old and not seen very often. The Jet Sam Cargo Bob basically scored higher than the regular Cargo Bob because it's quieter and slightly faster. The Dodo is the only semi-aquatic vehicle on this list, being able to land and take off from water. It also has extra seats on the side that someone can ride on the aircraft from the exterior, which makes it very fun. The Technical might cost $1.2 million, but can be upgraded to a personal vehicle in the MOC or Avenger. This personal version of the Technical is slightly better, meaning that even if you initially purchase this as a Pegasus vehicle, it probably won't stay that way for very long. The Swift is, again, a much better variant of its deluxe version, being significantly cheaper and more worth the cost. Now finally breaking into the top 10, the Brigade has recently been overshadowed by the Brigade 6x6, though it was always a unique vehicle that was available through the interaction menu in the CEO options. Also available in the CEO interaction menu is the Volidus, which is a luxury helicopter featuring sliding doors and being available in races for roughly $2.3 million. Being a fan favorite by a few in my community and always making an appearance when possible on my streams, the Miljet might be pricey at $1.7 million, though it can also seat 16 people, making it one of the best vehicles for carrying a load of friends. In 7th place is the Valkyrie, another overlooked and forgotten helicopter with a top speed of 145 miles an hour and an absurd price tag of $3.8 million. It has a very nice military feel to it, and it gets Enterable awards, as well as being able to be called by the assistant in the CEO office. The turreted limo can also be requested through the interaction menu while working as a CEO, and can carry a decent amount of people, with a very strong minigun turret on top, combining military weaponry and luxury in one stretched out motorcade. The Super Valido score is higher than the Carbon version due to its lower price tag and similar stats. As you probably noticed, there are many vehicles on this list that have a more expensive option and a cheaper option. Typically, the cheaper option is better, with the exception of the Cargo Bob. The Savage is a helicopter that I don't see very often, and despite its heftier price tag and slightly above average top speed, it was just good enough to score 4th place. In 3rd, we have the Buzzard Attack helicopter, which has always been a fan favorite, especially prior to the personal Sparrow being added to the game. Before the Sparrow, this was the best helicopter for quick and easy access via the interaction menu, and it has a competitive price at only $1.75 million. In 2nd place, we have the Raiju's little brother, the Hydra. The Hydra was the original OP jet with a VTOL capabilities. Topping out at 209 miles an hour, it's also the fastest Pegasus vehicle in the game, and can be converted into a personal vehicle via the hangar. It also has some of the best weapons of any Pegasus vehicle, and can be distinguished on the map via its unique radar icon, meaning that the best Pegasus vehicle in the entire game has to be the Insurgent pickup. Costing only $1.8 million, it might not be the fastest or most weaponized vehicle in Pegasus's back pocket, but with its ability to be called from the office assistant, its unique seating allowing players to hang off the side, and its ability to be turned into a personal vehicle in the MOC or Avenger, which is a fairly cheap conversion, makes it even better, and it's deserving of its #1 spot. So which Pegasus vehicle is your favorite, and which one are you going to consider buying after watching this video? If you happen to say all of them, then I'll let you know that'll cost you $112,243,259 and a whole shit ton of time spent in the arena. So, best of luck to you. Huge thanks to Nuke to Sharks and all of my other channel members. Your support is greatly appreciated, and I'm working on having even more exclusive content just for you guys.